Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor, and welcome to my channel. Today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 6. Here at this channel we do a quick therapeutic review where we utilize internal family systems, trying to really get a glimpse of what's happening internally, right, with these couples. And so we get to learn a little bit about what's happening for them and maybe even learn a little bit about you. First, if you are returning, welcome back. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started. First, we have Shaquille and Kirsten. I am a little bit concerned about this couple. There's not a lot of footage of them this episode, and I think this is actually kind of like second time in a row. So I'm concerned if they are really interacting with each other, right? And I see this episode that Shaquille has this part of him that's like very frustrated now. And it's protecting the part of him that's hurt by some of the things that Kirsten is saying. And we definitely see it in this episode. The first scene of this episode is when the whole group comes together, and Kirsten shared that attraction isn't the first thing that came, but she said he checks the boxes in every other way, and so she's just very glad about their connection that they are developing so far. Kirsten and Shaquille do some dancing lessons where they learn some Jamaican moves, and you know, it looks like they're having a good time. And Kirsten says like she loves how they dance together, that it's a beautiful connection, there's a natural chemistry, and she really feels like this is what's going to take this relationship to move forward. And I don't know, there's a part of me that is always in the back of my mind just wondering how sincere this is. I'm curious if Kirsten has a part of her that is maybe trying to put her best foot forward for the cameras and, you know, doesn't want to be disrespectful to Shaquille. That's really what I'm feeling potentially is happening. Later on, when Kirsten and Shaquille do talk, you know, Shaquille and Kirsten talk about Gina and Clint Gate and how Kirsten was very hurt and upset about what happened and what Clint said. And Shaquille said, I don't know, was Clint really all the way wrong? I mean, he said Eris said that she's attractive to us, but then to the gentleman, he said that he's really not attracted to her. And Kirsten's like, wait a second, I thought that he said that she's beautiful. And she's beautiful, she's attractive, that means one thing. I'm attracted to her physically or sexually, that's another thing, right? But this is where sometimes semantics and not being clear in our communication can lead to miscommunication. And she said, well, I said the same thing. Like, I'm going to be honest about what I said to the girls. I said that I feel like you joke too much. And I feel like this is where Shaquille, he took another hit, right? He took another hit from Kirsten. Okay, he said, all right, so you don't find me attractive. You think I joke too much. Do you really like me? Do you like who I am? That's what I got from their communication in that moment. And Kirsten was having a hard time. There's a part of her that was getting frustrated about their communication. And she said, I don't like to argue in circles. I really feel that was, you know, a younger part, right? No one likes to be rejected or to say that who they are isn't right for the other person, especially when, you know, Shaquille really, really cares for Kirsten and is really trying to put his best foot forward. And he even though his feelings were hurt, he even came from a place though of saying, I'm still trying to understand, right? I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Part of me feels like you're saying you don't like who I am. And part of me also is trying to seek clarification. Okay. And so Kirsten, she has a part of her that's communicating directly what she's seeing and what she needs from him. And part of her is trying to be nice, right? I'm putting that in quotes because she said, well, just be you, babe, right? And that's like a conceding to the argument because she's getting frustrated. I don't really feel like she genuinely means that. I don't think she genuinely means that. And so this is, yeah, I'm concerned about these two. Once she communicated that, hey, we're at this honeymoon, I'm okay with us joking, but I really want us to get to know each other. And Shaquille has this part of him, and I don't know if it's genuine or not, like for him, if he really felt this way in the moment. But he said, okay, so I see, you see where we are, and you really want us to really get to know each other, and you're trying to develop our relationship to move forward, right? And maybe this could be a part of him that's like understanding, like hearing her out. I also feel like he's still hurt. He's still hurt by the things that she's saying, and he's also hurt by the fact that he's being critiqued, and at the same time she isn't opening up much to him, because he stated that she has this wall up, right? She has this wall up, this protective layer, and I'm curious if she's made a decision that she's going to keep the wall up. I really want to see if Kirsten is going to come from, like, is she going to stay in this place with this like reserved and poised person, or if she's going to allow herself to be vulnerable with Shaquille. Like, is there a part of her that's already made up her mind, like, okay, through these 8 weeks, I'm going to be this version of Kirsten, because I don't want to offend or hurt Shaquille, even though she is, and not being completely honest with him. I hope that there's attraction there. I hope that these words that she's saying to him are true, that she is seeing a connection. She does like who he is. His personality is bigger than life, and she really likes that. I'm hoping that this is true. Definitely for Shaquille's sake, because he really cares for her. He really does. Next, we have Nicole and Chris. And so they are on this nice little hammock, which I love. Like, I love it. And they are cuddling. And, she stated that, even though we haven't been physically intimate, this cuddling and this touch is great for me. And he said, oh, because it makes you feel wanted. She said, it does. It does. And Chris gave a little backstory about why he's taking it slow. As he was in a relationship for a year and a half, and they were only physically intimate like 3 times, and so he just really wants to make sure that they are building that connection first. And then he said he also had a relationship where physical intimacy seemed to be how they reconciled issues, but they never really reconciled issues. And Nicole shared similar experiences. She did state that she was in a relationship where, the physical intimacy was really great. I did see like Chris's eyes shift a little bit when that happened. And so he spoke to what that was right after she talked about that relationship and how there is a part of him, right, that is concerned that Nicole won't be satisfied with his performance. And Nicole, she has a part of her that like reassures and mothers Chris, I'm noticing. So she said, I'm not expecting our first time to be, spectacular, which I hear the intent. I hear the intent there, because it's been a long time for her, it's been a long time for him, and they're just, having physical intimacy for the first time. Sometimes it can be like, oh, okay, figuring out each other, right? And at the same time, too, it could also land for him like, oh, I'm trying to take the pressure off of you, but I don't expect much from you, right? So I'm hoping that that he heard her, right? He heard her intent. Chris did state in his confessional that, he's all in. He's all in. He's saying that Nicole is all in. They're sharing. They're being very vulnerable with each other. And there's a part of me that is concerned if the sharing and vulnerability can turn into like oversharing. I am seeing though that they are comfortable, right, with each other, and they're comfortable where they are, that, or at least that's what they're saying, right? And as the group comes together, Nicole states that, I've seen that Chris is a really patient guy and, really understanding. And I love that we're being so open with each other. We're having conversations that I usually would have with someone that I just met, but because of the situation that we're in, like, we're just really getting to know each other. And she had a part of her that was like, we're going to be physically intimate the second, right? The second night of the honeymoon, that's what's going to happen. And that hasn't happened yet, and she's actually okay with it now. She's taking it in stride. Later, Nicole and Chris take out a kayak, and man, they were struggling a little bit, and at the same time, they got it together. And she used that analogy for marriage, and it's about right, especially when you're relying on the other person to paddle, and there's got to be communication, right? And so there can be some similarities there for sure. As they were out on the water, they started to discuss their pet peeves. What are the things that annoy you, or especially about each other? Nicole said she doesn't like people who walk really slow, but she noticed that Chris walks faster than her. And he said, well, my pet peeve is dishes. I don't like dishes in the sink. My brother used to do that and expecting me to do it all the time, so I don't like dishes in the sink. She's like, okay, I get that. He said, but admittedly, I let the laundry go, do it like once a month, and maybe because of the dog hair, I should do it once a week, but I don't. And I have a part of me that is, I'm going to put in quotes, lazy, using his words. And I don't, when I come home, I just kind of chill. That's what I do. And Nicole said, well, hey, I can do the laundry. No problem. I'll do it, on a weekly basis. And she said, hey, I hear you. Like during the week, you come home. She said, kind of do the same thing too, because you're working, you're tired. She said, now, I would call you lazy if you were just sitting at home all day and not going to work. And we can do things on the weekends. And so this is where like this reassuring part that Nicole has comes up when Chris says something vulnerable or a place that he has an insecurity about. She comes in to reassure him, which is beautiful for him. And there's a part of me that's just wondering if this is honest, if this is truly how she feels, or if there's a part of her that is concerned. Like she's not speaking to those concerns. And because she's not doing that, I mean, she could have no concerns. And at the same time, it doesn't feel genuine that she doesn't have any concerns. It just doesn't seem genuine. So I'm just concerned that maybe she's being quiet on the things that concern her about Chris. That's my concern. Chris is talking with the gentleman, and he said, Nicole does hold hands just a bit too much. He said, I like it. It's just it's hot, and so our hands get sweaty, but because it's touch and we're getting to know each other, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm cool with it. And Nicole and Chris stated that they both are a little concerned about living together. Living together because they've never lived with anyone, and they have a lot of stress the next week when they come home from the honeymoon, and they're concerned about that stress damaging their relationship. So this will be like the true test to see if they'll be open and honest with each other about what they need. And if they even know, right, what they need as they are joining together and building their home together while working. That's a lot. And filming a television show. So if they're going to be honest with each other about what their concerns are, and if someone does something that offends them, are they going to speak up? Are they going to swallow it? What's going to happen? Because again, because Chris is so nice, I really feel that Nicole is trying to quiet a lot of her stuff to really meet him where he is. And so we'll see if they're able to be honest and genuine with each other once they have the shared apartment about the things that they need from each other. Next, we have Clint and Gina. Oh my. So, it starts off with this cute little floating basket in the pool. I guess eating in the pool is a thing for Jamaica. And they're talking about like, oh, what's gonna happen when we get back home. And he said, I'm really excited to get you out on my boat and for us to sail. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really relax a lot at home because I'm really focused on work because I got this building and I have this and I have this and I have this and I have this. And Clint's like, oh boy, work again. And, she's concerned about pulling herself away from her business and not being present for her staff and her customers, which is a thing. Being a business owner is no easy task. 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week when you're a business owner. Like that, it really can be consuming, life consuming, if you don't have, a balance, if you don't prioritize your life outside of work. It can take over and consume you. And Clint is more about everyday adventure. And so her talking about work, and he feels like he's not getting to know who Gina really is. And I feel because the attraction piece is still the missing puzzle, I'm curious that is why Gina is leading with work, or if Gina is just leading with work because that is what's on her mind, right? That's her main focus. And so pulling back and being more vulnerable, if that's something that she's really knows how to do, right? If she knows how to do that, or if she's not comfortable with. When all the group is coming together, Gina gives an update saying, hey, the physical attraction thing, that's still a hurdle that we're getting through, but, we get along together and we kiss a lot. So, things are going well. And Clint decided to add more context to the conversation and letting everyone know that, his body type is more slender, athletic. And so, they're figuring things out. Well, the camera made sure to show everyone's facial expressions as he stated this, and man, it landed like a lead balloon once he said that. And he gave more detail on the after party, where he stated that actually on their wedding night they discussed this, that she's like, man, okay, I got what I said I didn't want. And he talked about his preference as well. So this was information that Gina already knew. And so during the after party, Dominique and Eris actually gave him some insight of saying like, hey, maybe it was the fact that he said it in front of the whole group that was really hurtful to Gina. And Clint has a part of him. That is very unfiltered. This unfiltered part of him, as he called himself giving Chris some great advice about Nicole. Like, she's going to walk over you. You got to make sure you stand your ground because she's going to test you. He's very direct with his words. And it seems like he doesn't know where the boundary is for what to say and what not to say. I really get the sense that Clint doesn't know what to say and what not to say in front of a group of people, right? Because like even that conversation with Chris could have been him one-on-one, like, hey, I noticed that Nicole has this like really big personality and I'm concerned for you. Like, I'm concerned about how nice you are and, how that's going to play out. I just want to make sure you speak up for yourself. And Clint doesn't seem to have that discernment. Yes, there is a part of me that's like, Gina said that she didn't like his gingery features, and now he's stating that you aren't my type physically, and could this be a tit for tat? Clint did deny that at the after party, and at the same time, there's a part of me that is curious if he's unaware, right? Unaware that potentially a part of him was really hurt by that and said, hey, you're going to hit me once, well, I'm going to hit you right back. Sometimes that does happen, and we're not always aware that the intent, right, of what we're saying in the moment. And he said, no, I just really was just stating the facts that this is my body type, not understanding that there's a room full of women with all different body types. And just discernment and discretion is something that seems to be an area of growth for Clint, really. Gina shared with the girls that she slept on it. She slept on the comments and woke up just steaming mad. And she knows that she has to talk to him about it. And she's just trying to handle it the best way she can because she is so hurt. And so later, Gina does bring up the offense with Clint. And he is taken back. Like, once she said, I was offended, like, he blinks and kind of, like, steps back. Like, you're offended? As to say that, there's a part of him that didn't speak to the fact that she said that she didn't like gingery features. Well, so he brings that up. Like, oh, do you not feel like it's offensive to refer to someone as a ginger? And I see where he's coming from, right? Because there's a reason why there is a phrase of treating me like a redheaded stepchild, right? Because there has been a history of people with red features being bullied and made fun of. And her saying it in a way of saying, like, I don't like it, can be a sting of, like, putting it down, right? And so for her, she's like, well, no, I do red hair all the time. He said, but you don't like red hair. And Clint kind of tried to come from a place of saying, this is equal. She has a preference. She doesn't like red hair. I have red hair. I have a preference. I don't like curvy body type, and so that's just a preference. They're both equal. And I see where he's coming from, and I feel that they're both a preference, and at the same time, reading the room is also a concern, which Gina did speak to. Like, I want somebody who's going to be able to read the room and know when to say something and when not to say something. And like I stated before, this is an area of growth for Clint. And she said, okay, you don't see where I'm coming from. You don't hear me. I'm going to walk away. And I think we should keep some distance for the rest of the honeymoon. Oh boy. Hopefully they're able to explore this a little bit more when they are in a cooler place, or when maybe the experts are present to really hear each other. This seems like a big ding, right, to their connection, to their relationship, because it already was kind of in a rocky place, and now it's just growing. It's growing, and you can see as Clint was talking to Gina as she was walking away, that there's some walls that he's building up. This part of him that's like, oh, look what she's doing, isn't that? And it's like, okay, you hurt me with the ginger thing, and I'm just being myself. I stated my preference. You have an issue with that. And he feels like this is like some chess move that she's playing. And more protectors are coming up, right? He's like, okay, she's being strategic because she didn't want to be called out for her stuff. Maybe for her, she doesn't see it equal, right? As she didn't mean ginger as offensive. For a body type, that's something that has, historically been offensive for women because that's something that they're judged upon, right? So they're coming from two different lenses, and you can see Clint's walls coming up. Gina's pulling back. She's using distance as a way to protect her. And how will this play out? We shall see. Next, we have Jasmine and Eris. So Jasmine states, like, hey, I'm concerned this man has not been in love before, and this is really taking it back. Like, he's 39 years old. Will he be in love with me? Like, I don't know. So I'm just, I'm taking it in stride, and we'll see how this goes. And so they're getting a couples massage, and she said, this is the first time I really in a month got to relax because I've been stressed and working. And he said, well, let me know, let your husband know if there's any way that I can help and assist, right, in you being relaxed. And there's this part of him, like, he's like, I want to be helpful. I want to be, right, what I'm supposed to be for you. Just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do, right? So there's this part of him, like, I don't know exactly what a husband's supposed to do, but tell me what you need from me, and I'll do that. And she said, well, hey, don't drop any more bombs on me. That would be great, because, that whole not been in love thing, like, that's a thing still for me, and it's making me not relaxed. And he said, well, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be a bomb and what's not going to be a bomb, and so you might still have some knots there if in your back if that's the case. And so then she gets up and massages him, and she keeps calling him husband, which, there could be a part of her that's like husband because she, has never had a husband. So, it's kind of fun to say that word. And also, if there's a part of her that's like annoyed and using that, right, as a way like, okay, husband, like, this isn't what I thought my husband would be like, right? There's some undertones in that word, husband, when she uses it. But she's massaging him. She's like, this is the most we've ever touched each other, since we've been on the honeymoon. Yes, we cuddle and things, but we've never like rubbed each other up. And he said, no, we're taking things slow, and, things are moving at a pace, we got to build. And she does not like that answer at all. She's like confused. Said, maybe the first night of the honeymoon you're asking about my favorite position, and now we're taking things slow. What's changed? It's giving her more reason to put walls up. More reason. Okay. First, you've never been in love. Now, you're pulling back from me in the physical department. What does that mean? Giving her more cause to be cautious and protective. As the group comes together, Eris shares, well, I shared with Jasmine that I've never been in love before, and that was a lot for her. And so, we're taking it in stride and taking our time, right, to build our connection. And then Clint asks, in Clint fashion, well, have you blown her back out yet? And everyone is like, Clint, why did you think it was okay to say that? And he said, okay, well, I'll give you some backstory. And Eris said, I said that at the bachelor party. And he said, but, that's where I was, and I was in the moment, but I really want to build our connection. And Jasmine is still not buying it. Eris and Jasmine are discussing the group meeting together, and he's like, man, like, did you see what Gina and Clint said to each other? Like, wow. And Nicole, like, she was all ready for it, and then now she's taking it slow. Like, I wonder if she's not feeling him anymore. And Jasmine said, well, the same can be said about you, right? Because you said earlier that, what's your favorite position, and now you're taking it slow. He's like, well, I get it, you want to, you can't be prepared about what's happening or what's going to happen when you meet a stranger and things. So you're just in it and if you need to adjust, then you will. And Jasmine, again, is not buying it at all. In Eris's confessional, he said that he is getting more of a friend vibe from Jasmine. This is not going well. hoping that they can move through this. I just need Eris to be honest with her about where she is, because she's picking up on stuff. And so that is right, that's giving her pause, but being honest with her in a way that is right, not hurtful. And it's hard, right? Because how do you say to someone, which both of them were talking about in this conversation, how do you tell somebody that you're not attracted to them? How do you tell somebody that you're not attracted to them? And so with Eris, he is having a conversation with the gentleman and saying, man, Jasmine, when it comes to her attraction to me, I feel like it's a 12 out of 10. But, Jasmine, my attraction to her, it's like a 3 or 4 out of 10. Ouch. So, body type wise, again, it's not a matchup. And I wonder if either Clint or Eris said what their body type was to the experts, and then also they're in a situation where they're meeting a stranger. So that could be something for them to consider, knowing that they may not get exactly what they want. And will this be something, right? Because Jasmine is wanting, she's told the girls, she's wanting some more reassurance about her physical attraction. That's what she's wanting from Eris, and it's an area for him that he's not feeling. Like, he feels like she's beautiful, but there's no physical chemistry between the two. Jasmine later stated that to Eris that she is concerned. Like, she's concerned because she's feeling the pressure of doing the right things and saying the right things in order for him to fall in love with her. And she knows herself. She falls in love easily. And she doesn't want to be in a place where she's all in with her heart and he's not there yet. And this was a vulnerable place. Like, Jasmine was being open and honest with Eris. And he said, this is awkward. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is where we're seeing where your family said that you don't know how to communicate. And he got very awkward with this conversation at first, because at first he said, I feel like everybody needs to just, take a beat. And she's like, no, I'm not saying I'm in love with you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm concerned that I will fall in love with you and you won't be there. Then he states it's awkward, right? And she's like, for me, it's not awkward. We're just meeting. And they were talking about two different things, I feel, in this situation. She's saying, we're just getting to know each other. Of course, we're going to have times where we don't know what to say, but it's not awkward for me. I feel in that moment when she was being open about, like, hey, I'm scared. Like, I'm going to be all in and you're still going to be, halfway through the process, or halfway in, or, just one toe in. And that conversation was awkward for Eris, because he doesn't know how to respond to that. I feel like in the area of feelings and emotional intelligence and communicating his feelings, it is an area of growth for Eris. And you can tell that he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. You can tell that is there, right? And so there needs to be some type of conversation about it, right? Some type of conversation about it in a place where there is still consideration for Jasmine's feelings. We got a lot of rocky roads this episode. Speaking of rocky roads, next we have Dominique and McKinley. So they are waking up talking about snoring again. Who's snoring, who's not snoring. And Dominique's like, hey, I want to go horseback riding. And McKinley is joking again. And Dominique is in a place of, like, I don't know if he's joking, if he's not joking. Is he being serious? What is he trying to communicate to me? And it's causing a lot of frustration for her. It really is causing a lot. There's a part of her just like, I don't know. I'm a straight shooter. I say what I mean what I say. And for him, joking so much, it's like, it's activating that part of her. Like, I'm a straight shooter. I need you to be a straight shooter with me. And I feel just picking up on McKinley, like there's some anxiety about communication and getting to know new people. He said he's introverted. I feel it's a little deeper than just being introverted. I feel that there's a part of him that is leading with the humor, because this is a new situation. And this is what he does, like similar to Eris, similar to Clint, what we've been kind of talking about, and similar to Shaquille. And this is something, too, that men are told. Men are told to lead with funny because women want a man that's going to make her laugh. Yes. And also, Dominique wants to know who McKinley is. And if he's constantly joking, she doesn't know what's serious and what's not serious. And it feels like he has some parts of him that are concerned or scared to show his true self and be open and real with her. There's a lot of flirting, there's a lot of joking, there's a lot of conversation about the physical chemistry, not a lot of them sharing with each other. And we talked about this last week. Dominique did share her concerns with her mother and said, he's not as adventurous as I would like. And Mom, I'm excited to see that Mom was trying to say, hey, give him the benefit of the doubt, basically, in her conversation. And there does need to be a balance. Dominique wants him to bend to her, do the things I want to do the things that I want to do. And maybe, too, she has, because from her view, she would have been waking up in the morning and doing all the excursions in Jamaica, and she's trying to take, a beat and see if he's open to doing like one or two things. And so there does need to be a balance of he wants to kind of chill a little bit on the beach, and she wants to enjoy Jamaica. She wants to take in everything, the whole experience of Jamaica. So the group goes horseback riding, and McKinley is not here for it. His horse is pooping on him, and McKinley is more than frustrated. Lots of cuss words. And Dominique is in her element, just loving it, the water and the horses, and it's just amazing. And McKinley said, how was this adventurous? We went in a circle. This was disgusting. I didn't like it. And Dominique does not like the complaining. There's a part of her that feels like this takes away from the experience. Legitimately, I see that. And she communicated that with him. In their cam as they were shooting it, and he was saying, everything was great except for me being there and the fact that it happened. And Dominique got really frustrated and says that he complains a lot. She talked to the girls about it. He complains a lot, and it takes away from their physical attraction and their connection. And she wants him to be able to edit himself a little bit. McKinley is sharing with the fellas hey, Dominique says I complain too much, and so I'm trying to figure out what's good and what's not good. And here comes Clint again to the rescue. You be you. Don't change for anybody. I see, I did that in the past, and I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that. And he's like, well, I hear you. And at the same time, I'm in this situation because what I've done in the past hasn't worked. And I need to have some compromise. And I feel like that's great, right? That's great for McKinley. He had a really sincere moment with her. He apologized, and he said he's going to do better. And Dominique accepted that, and she's like, I'm going to take it in stride, and at the same time, I need you to do better. So we shall see. What happens with these couples. There is a lot of bumpy roads this last kind of day or time in the honeymoon, and they haven't even moved into the apartments yet. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts about if these couples can come back from these rocky places that are happening very early on in their connection. And if you have stuck with us this long, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, be cool, be calm, be centered.